Thanks, Morgan, for joining me. We're going to have a quick conversation about what happens after Turing. And so you came to Turing. Let's jump right to the big finish. Tell me about your new job.
Yeah, so I am working for the DoD, the Department of Defense, and I am learning Angular. So I came in not knowing Angular as well as doing unit testing with Karma. So everything is brand new, and I feel like I just jumped right in. It's an internship, it's paid, and it's far. It's like an hour commute, but I feel like the payoff is so much. The payoff's worth the drive.
Yeah.
I've been in for, probably 5 weeks, I'd say. And I'm learning so much every day, about what it is to really like be a dev, what it looks like, what it feels like being a part of a team. And also just coming into a space where you just don't really know the library. Like, I came in knowing React and they're doing Angular. And then also just the syntax and how they do it. Cause I did take like a crash course on Angular, but I kind of feel like I didn't really get into the nitty gritty until I was actually into their code base. So that has definitely been a learning curve.
If I go on LinkedIn, I'm going to hear and learn how no one has a job. Everyone is laid off. Tech is over and AI has taken all the jobs. How come you got a job?
I just kind of feel like there's really no way that AI could have done what is in this code base. I mean, this code base has...
So would it be better if AI did it, maybe?
Maybe. I mean, this code base, is part of the DoD, so it's really old. Some of it is, has been built like 20 years ago. They're using Angular 9 and they're going to Angular 15. And also, it's just a lot of information that you can't really put on the internet. So it really has to be like classified information that you can't put into AI. So all of the methods that I'm working on really can't even be put into the internet because it's classified information. So, that's one thing that AI really can't do is take over the Department of Defense.
It does sound very like Terminator-ish, right? So we started them with our web apps and then all of a sudden...
I just think it's going to be like a great tool for people to use. Like, hey, like this function, I wrote this function, it's not working. What can I do to switch it up? I don't really know if it can necessarily take you from ground zero to 100. I think that it can be like a tool that's used for software developers, but it's not going to take over the tech world.
Yeah.
It's not going to take over.
When you were graduating Turing, were you feeling confident about job hunt, scared about job hunt? What was the air at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of friends that started looking for jobs in Mod 3, and I almost wish that I was one of those people because I think starting to look for a job, right at the end of, Mod 4, you kind of feel like you really hit the ground running. But for those people that had been doing it for 5 weeks already, I think really we're in like a momentum. And, I'm part of like the 200 application club and the cold applications. And I did end up getting 4 interviews out of those 200 applications, but I ended up getting this job through a referral. So
how'd you get the referral?
I have a friend whose husband is in tech, and she knew that I was going through this boot camp and her husband was in tech, and she knew that, his company was hiring interns, and she was like, hey, Morgan, like my husband's company is hiring. Are you interested? So it was really like a friend through a friend. And so I felt that was like, oh my gosh, you really just have to tell everybody what you're doing because you never know who you could connect with or who's going to connect you to who. So I just started going out, post Turing and telling everybody, hey, like I just finished this boot camp. I'm ready to be a software engineer. Do you know anybody? And I do feel that I got some traction with that, much more than the 200 applications that I put in.
Yeah, and it helps when you do have the connection yourself. That's great, and also when you don't, like you can make them. There are people out there hiring. There are people out there talking about their companies and growth and so forth. And while it's useful to have a friend of a friend or spouse of a friend and so forth, it's also there are a lot of doors that if you knock on them, people will open it and say like, what's your deal? Why have you come here? What are you looking for? Right. What made this job opportunity stand out as like, okay, I'm going for it?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it was really the only opportunity. And so I wanted to take it. All of the other interviews that I had done, I think I was like runner up, which was really, that was hard to be runner up. And I was actually runner up towards a couple of Turing students. So it was like a bittersweet moment. Yeah, I just kind of was like, I don't really know what this is going to be unless I try it. And it's an internship. It's for 3 months. If I don't, it's an internship with an offer at the end. So I could end up with no offer, but I do know that this 3 months has given me the opportunity to be exposed to what this world really looks like. So I'm so happy that even if I was maybe on the fence about this internship, that I decided to go for it.
Yeah, and I think even in the situation, most of the time, if you do a good job in your internship, the reason the internship program exists is to vet and recruit long-term employees. It's not, I think sometimes people like to imagine like, oh, they're just getting the cheapest labor and then they'll cycle through the next bunch of noobs. And it's like, noobs aren't worth that much. It's not great to be plugging new people in all the time, trying to train them up on the code base and all that stuff. Like companies have internship programs because they want to hire people. And so chances are, if you show up, you do good work, you're nice to work with, you follow through on what you say you're going to do, they're going to offer you that job.
I agree.
If you were talking to folks who are out there in the job hunt and struggling, what would you tell them to do? How do they follow in the Morgan footsteps?
I would say, first of all, just keep going. I know that like it can be really hard to be on that grind and to be like filling out those applications and just to like continue moving forward with not a ton of traction. But I found that even through like the non-referral way, I was getting interviews. I was like with the cold applies, like even though I had put in 200 and only got 4 interviews, like that was 4 interviews. And it really like put me ahead of the game too. Like I had 4 interviews of experience, so I feel like those pushed me forward even to like land this job that was a referral. And I would say also too, just talk to everybody. I mean, when you're out to lunch, when you're getting a coffee, when you're going to the bar, when you're playing basketball at the rec center, like literally tell everybody what you're doing and what you've done. And you might just, get a lucky chance. So I would just, continue talking about what it is that you're doing, not just, through LinkedIn, but just in person.
Perfect. Well, thanks for the insights, Morgan. Congrats on the job. Hope it turns out awesome, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cool. Yeah, thanks so much.